What's going on, everybody? Your boy Himothy's back. Sorry for the long hiatus. A lot's been going on, but I'm back like I never left. Here's a controversial video that I always said I want to talk about. It's going to be about what Stefon Diggs and Cardi B taught us about modern day dating. Let me go ahead and get the scripture out the way, and then we're going to get right into it. This is going to be 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 4. And it states, be aware, people will become lovers of thyself, lovers of money, lovers of pleasure, and they will be praised for the pleasure versus praising God. All right. 1 second. This is a hookah edition, by the way. All right. So pretty much, uh, when a man is considered in top tier status, right? And by top tier, I'm talking about he has fame, money, social status, and scarcity. Stuff that most men don't reach, right? So when someone like Stefon Diggs date a superstar like Cardi B, the competition actually increases, and it doesn't decrease. Um, Pretty much when the man reaches a certain level, he doesn't lose options. Okay, he gains spontaneously a lot more, and that's just because. Let's think about how most modern day women review men or view men all together as of right now, right? They think 99% of us are cooked. So it's like it went from one in the top 15% or whatever down to basically one in the top 1%. So they think 99% of men are cooked, right? So you meet a guy who is handsome, he's in shape, he has social proof, he has status, he has money, and amongst other things going for himself. So that right there will allow certain rules to be broken for men like that. It goes to show you that a lot of women go for the same dudes. We're not talking about all women, but a lot of women go for the same dudes, right? And obviously, once they relationship became public, some interesting things happened, right? A lot of women started going online saying that they dated Stefon Diggs or that they wanted to be with Stefon Diggs, or they've already smashed, whatever the case may be. And this is what's called pre-selection psychology, right? Pre-selection psychology is basically when women often find men who are, they find men more attractive when other women already want them, and like I said, when he has higher status, money, and social proof, um, especially if he can bag somebody of a high status like Cardi B, um, they look at his value as extremely high, and his desirability increases. Of course, this doesn't apply to all women, but a lot of women want what other women want, right? And a lot of that fear of missing out is a motherfucker. So basically, sorry about the long delay. Trying to smoke hookah and think and do all these things at once. Y'all know I'm not like a huge content creator thing, so I'll be trying. But uh, loyalty versus status tolerance, right? Um, Sometimes people tolerate behavior from high status partners that they would never tolerate from average partners. And why is that? It's because the relationship provides status, lifestyle, exposure, excitement, and all these other things, a little bit of toxicity. And this isn't unique. This isn't like a unique thing for women either. Men also tolerate things from, celebrities, Instagram models, and high status partners as well. But the key message is that the higher the status, the more tolerance people sometimes show. Um, So, like I say, fellas, when you start locking in, you start, getting in shape, you start getting your money, you start getting your status up, you start traveling, you start educating yourself, you make yourself more available, you become more handsome, you start attracting high quality women. These type of behaviors, will be displayed to the forefront, and you'll be able to get away with a lot of things. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's an unfair advantage, but certain men play by certain rules, and some men play by no rules. Really, they do what they want, when they want, how they want, because when you consider yourself a diamond in the rough, it is what it is. Everybody's looking for diamonds, right? Um, and let's also talk about the scarcity of elite men, right? Elite men who have wealth, fame, physical attractiveness and influence, that's already extremely rare as it is. Especially like, let's just say you're a non-celebrity, right? Let's just say you just your regular Joe Blow at work, but they go on your TikTok, they go on your Instagram, and they see you making all these moves. They see you out here traveling. They see you out here in the gym. They see you out here eating good food. They see you out here. But you got to remember, like the social proof is basically where, when women go on your page and, start looking at your lifestyle, they're already envisioning them in those situations. So you flying to other countries, being on the beach, eating shrimp, steak, and lobster. You on boats, you on ATV rides, you doing hot air balloons, you jump. They think about those kind of things, right? So when you're in a position where you can broadcast and show these type of things, oh, trust me, your desirability goes up, because now that guy that's talking about, let me take you to Applebee's, let me take you to Cheesecake Factory, she ain't dealing with that, because now she knows what type of position that you're in and what position you can possibly put her in. So it becomes you basically just become a rare gem. And that's why when that level of a man enters the dating market, that's why pretty much most women compete for the same ones. That's why you'll see multiple women connected to the same guy. Think about just like at work, right? It's usually always that one jock at work, like, tall, good looking, in shape and all that. I'm gonna say the same things over and over because I have to drill it in your head, fellas. This video is really for the fellas, right? Y'all know I'm about men self improvement, so you're gonna hear me drill the same things. What women look for on surface level: the social proof, your looks. You know what I mean? They're looking at your hairline, they're looking at your beard, they're looking at your jewelry, they're looking at your skin, they're looking at your fingernails, they're looking at your body, they're looking at how you carry yourself and how you talk, they're looking at your grill and all that fun shit, right? So all of these things matter, fellas, whether you want to believe it or not. And that 5F module, the faith, finances, fitness, family, and fashion, all of that is what's going to curate that type of profile, that type of status. And there is no way around it. All right. So let's kind of conclude, like, the highlights of what I'm saying. For those of you, I'm pretty sure y'all kind of grasp where I'm going with this, but status changes dating rules, right? People with high status often play by different rules. It is what it is. We talk about this all the time. The social proof amplifies your attraction. The more notoriety you have, again, that guy at work, you go on his page, he got 20, 30,000 followers, and he seemed like just your normal dude. People are going to gravitate and try to figure out, well, who the fuck is he? Why he got all this going on? What is it about him or whatever? And then if you post a picture, like with your shirt off or something, you got a bunch of women with the hard eyes and the heart emojis and the ooh la las and the wet emojis and all that shit. Oh, you best believe when he get back to work the next day, not every, but majority of the women there, they gonna slide in his DMs, ask for the number, say they can kick it. All of a sudden they available and got free time and all that bullshit. That's just how it goes. Modern day dating is highly competitive though, right? Thanks to social media. You post something, it's broadcasted. Now everybody knows what you got going on, right? So let's kind of just look at some of the key takeaways, right? And this isn't about judging Cardi B or Stefon Diggs. It's about understanding how status, attention, and social proof pretty much influence modern day relationships. And in the social media era, the top 1% of men and women operate in completely different dating environments than the average person. And I want to, I kind of want to touch on that real quick, right? So how can I put this? Average men just, again, we're viewed as cooked. So she's not going to listen to anything you have to say if you're not coming with this type of time. But what I did want to, I remember what I want to say. But those of you who are in relationships or actively dating, I want you to also assess your environment, assess your situation. If you're, and this is no shade to nobody, right? I love everybody. But like, if you're working at McDonald's and you're making $30,000 a year, maybe 40 if you're doing a lot of overtime, all right, and you're a guy, and you're going after a woman that's let's say she's a nurse, a registered nurse, and she's making $150,000 a year. Sorry, dude. You know what I mean? Like you pretty much SOL, because she's already accustomed to eating certain meals, going to certain travel destinations, and hanging around doctors that's probably in her DMs, offering to pay for things and stuff like that. You're just not going to be able to, you're just not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Now let's scale it down. Let's say she also works at McDonald's, right? And ladies, if you're dating a man who's working at McDonald's, you can't expect him to give you $1 million lifestyle. All right. Cardi B, Stefon Diggs are both probably worth damn near 100 million a piece. So they can afford private planes. They can afford to go to France and be in castles and shit like that. Your boyfriend that's working at McDonald's can't do that. Your boyfriend that's at Walmart can't do that. Your boyfriend that's still in college and trying to make ends meet, he can't do that. And you shouldn't fault him for that. You just have to understand the circumstances. Now, if you start getting DMs from high value men that want to take you to all these places, hey, I'm all for it. Do what you got to do. But fellas, like, if you really want to get ahead of the game, you gotta start implementing that 5F model. That 5F module. There's no way around it. All right. Stop trying to look for magic shortcuts. You know what I mean? Stop trying to look for, oh, well, as long as I get my money up, that's fine. Yeah, you can have the money or whatever, but she's still gonna go sleep with these kind of guys for free. Now that guy who even has the money don't have to spend it because you spending it on her already. So oof, boy, getting terrible. But honestly though, instead of worrying about like high status people, worrying about who they dating or whatever, let's focus on becoming the best versions of ourselves, fellas. At the end of the day, the real lesson here is status changes your options. That's how you become Himothy. I'll put it like this. Pretty much the ultimate conclusion. The situation between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, it proves one thing and one thing only. The higher a man's status and value is, the more rules he's allowed to break. All right. And I see it here in real time, right? Y'all know I live in Metro Atlanta. So, I see guys who have a girlfriend, 2 or 3 baby mamas, but he on top of his shit. He got the nice crib. He driving the nice cars. He got the nice look, the aesthetic look and shit like that. He go on his Instagram. He got thousands, tens of thousands of followers. When he's stepping in the club, women, they ain't caring about his girlfriend. They ain't caring about his baby mamas. They want their turn. They want their turn. So I guess the ultimate lesson, and I went over all that pretty much, fellas, you got to understand, man. That's the only way you're going to really be able to play by those kind of rules. And women can say whatever. You got to watch what they do, watch what they say. Watch what they do, not what they say. Okay, because they'll say, "Oh, I would never mess with a guy like that. That's just too much." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's because those type of guys aren't in their inbox. But when those guys do get in their inbox, it's going to be a different type of energy. So what we gonna take away from this, fellas? We're gonna build our social proof. We're gonna build our value, and how we're gonna do that? We're gonna follow that 5F module. No matter what, you're always going to hear me say it, your relationship with God needs to be top tier. All right. You need to know that is your motivation. That is your purpose for walking this earth, is to serve your creator and live for your creator and make sure your spirit and your heart stays pure. So when it's all said and done, you can get back upstairs to your creator. Number 2, we're going to fix our finances. All right. You already know, fellas, I'm not saying y'all need to be millionaires. I'm not a millionaire, but you can become a 6-figure man, supplement your income. If you only got one coming in, try to find another one, then another one, then another one. To build your brand and stuff like that. Of course, fitness. Come on, that 3rd F is fitness. I'm sorry, fellas, you can't be walking around here with your stomach out this big and you expecting women to submit to you. All right. When she see that 6-pack, again, watch what they do, not what they say. They'll say they love dad bods, give me a big guy, but go on their Instagram and their TikTok, see who they following. None of those ninjas got big stomachs. All right. They like looking at them nice bodies just like we like looking at nice bodies. And remember, fitness ain't just about your overall just look. It's also about, taking care of your health, eating right, drinking your water, your coconut water, your creatine, your supplements, your vitamins and stuff like that, getting your blood work done, making sure your testosterone is all good, all those levels, pH balance is on point. All of those things matter, right? Your family, obviously being family oriented and just knowing how to maintain and deal with relationships, whether it's from your coworkers, whether it's from your boss, whether it's from your friends, whether it's from your family, and of course, romance. So that plays a role. And lastly, of course, fashion, right? Make sure you dress in the part, making sure you look good. You know what I mean? If you need to throw on the earrings, keep that skincare routine going. And getting your hands and feet dead, the whole 9 yards. All right. All of this plays an important role, fellas. So that's pretty much all I got. Pretty much the overall theme of that again is that high value men, they play by a different set of rules. And if you're cooked, you're not going to be able to play by these rules. And if you want to get uncooked, you got to follow that 5F module. All right. Stop trying to take shortcuts. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop sitting there pretending like, don't be an NPC. It is what it is.